and welcome to the ThinkMHK podcast presented by the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. On this podcast, you will hear about a variety of local matters pertaining to the business community. You also hear from local business owners to hear their story and gain valuable business insights. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm your host, Jason Smith, President and CEO at the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. We're broadcasting today from the Ad Astra Cast studio in Colony Square. With me today are our co-hosts, Darren Solden, Charla Meisenheimer, and Karen Hibbert. And so we're going to visit briefly and introduce you to our team and talk a little bit about what our podcast will be moving forward. So let's start with Karen, who is our Vice President and also Director of the Manhattan Convention Visitors Bureau, or Visit Manhattan. Karen, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you ended up being at the Chamber.
Oh, Jason, it is a delight to be a part of this podcast. And I started when I first graduated from college at the Chamber, when the Chamber of Commerce was a staff of 5. Worked for the Chamber for a year, then had some other career opportunities and came back to the Chamber in 1997 when our Chamber had grown immensely. We were we were actually in Colony Square. We were getting ready to take over our new office building, moved into that new office building, and then our staff has continued to grow from there. So truly, 1997 to present is my career with the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce.
And you are a lifetime Kansan?
I am. I'm a native Kansan. I grew up in southeast Kansas. When my husband and I got married, we lived in northwest Kansas, but we have called the Manhattan area home for well over 40 years.
And Karen, tell me why you have chosen tourism as a career and why it's important to Manhattan.
Well, first of all, I love people, and I love being able to help people have their best experience that they possibly can have when they come into our community, to be able to give them some facts, some opportunities to experience something that will make the experience in Manhattan and the region unique and memorable. That has been very, very rewarding to me. I have also worked for many years on the convention sales side, working with improving our meeting facilities, but attracting people to come to Manhattan, whether they are planning a meeting and just know that they want to meet in Manhattan and have no idea what those amenities are, how we can work with them to have a keynote speaker, how we can work with them to have entertainment that can make their meeting unique and fun, how they can, meeting planners can have an off-site visit possibly to have their banquet meal. It's just been a real pleasure to be able to help with meetings and visitors alike to have a unique experience in our community.
Tourism is integral into the other aspects of the Chamber, in that when someone is considering moving to Manhattan or locating a business in Manhattan, what we say is they always start as a visitor.
Sure, absolutely. Tourism truly is that economic driver that you want to go visit first before you then make those decisions to really put down your roots and call this place where you want to invest in a business, where you want to join the Chamber and really deeply become involved in the community.
Great. We're going to go to Darren next. So before, Darren, we get into your story, I'm going to ask you this question. Does Karen have more bad jokes than anybody you've ever met?
I would have to say yes.
She is definitely...
I thought about it for a moment, though.
Yeah, she is definitely the purveyor of dad jokes at the Chamber. She has more bad jokes probably than anyone I've ever worked with, which is always enjoyable to hear.
Well, jokes and puns.
Jokes and puns. It is a great day if you can find something to laugh at. And so every day should be a good day.
We don't always laugh at those jokes.
I know you don't.
I think sometimes you're the only one that's laughing, but that's okay. So let's move on to Darren. Darren is our newest member of the Chamber at this table. He joined us last year actually right before the pandemic, which is always a great time to change jobs. Darren, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you ended up working at the Chamber and how you ended up in this career.
Yeah, Jason, thanks for having me on the podcast. I have something in common with Karen there, and that my first job out of college at K-State was working for the Manhattan Chamber. So started out working in economic development and spent some time with the Chamber before ultimately going back to grad school, and then pursuing a number of different professional opportunities, which included working for some chambers and organizations that were involved in economic development in other communities in the region. And so I think that regional perspective has been something that I bring to the table and something that kind of helps drive what I do on a day-to-day basis. And it's been great being back here. Immediately prior had been over with the Chamber of Commerce in Wamego and a great group of people there. But it's fun to be back into a role where we're working regionally on economic development, and all of our partners, whether they be the communities, the other economic development organizations, Kansas State University, the state, it really is a team effort.
And we talked about jobs is so important to us growing our economy and having the resources that are necessary for our community leadership to be able to maintain our quality of life. What are some ways that you and your team are working to add jobs to the economy?
Well, jobs are vital. It's primary thing that we have to focus on. And right now we're working very closely with existing businesses in the community. We have a very robust business retention and expansion program. George Kant heads that up and is out every day meeting with businesses across the community, identifying issues that they may have, identifying opportunities, and we hope to help them grow those opportunities into expansions here, investments of capital in the Manhattan area, and ultimately growth in jobs. And so our existing business community is incredibly important to job growth, and then we do a significant amount of business attraction work. So that's marketing, and that marketing effort really is international. It's focusing on companies that may have growth opportunities. It's focusing on companies that we can leverage local strengths on, things like animal health, biosecurity, research capabilities at K-State. Think about what's going on with NBAF. Eyeballs are on Manhattan, Kansas, and we want to make sure that we're making companies aware of that and giving them opportunities to come here. And so a very robust program on the business attraction side as well. So those are really the two key areas where we're pushing new job creation, and then of course we have to have the talent to fill those jobs.
So Darren, you're from Manhattan originally?
Originally from Stillwater, Oklahoma. You may know that as that little town as an Oklahoman, but I have spent the majority of my life in Manhattan, and every time I've left, I have come back. So my folks were college professors, and my dad was from the area, and so I always have had family here, and Manhattan's always been a special place for me. And going back to about third grade, have spent the majority of my time, not quite as many years as Karen, but have spent the majority of my adult life in Manhattan.
Manhattan High graduate.
Manhattan High graduate, and K-State a couple times over as well. So bleed purple, and always excited to root on K-State athletics and enjoy the area. Love exploring the Flint Hills. Love all the food opportunities and getting out and hiking and enjoying the outdoors, and of course getting out and playing golf when I can.
And a former member of the Kansas State golf team, correct?
I am. Yeah, I had the great opportunity when I was at K-State to play on the golf team, and what a great way to get to see a lot of fun places and travel and compete at a level there. You know, as a Division I athlete, was really something that I think is not only fun looking back, but it puts a lot of great behavioral characteristics in place and organization and time management and the competitiveness. I think that's one of the things I enjoy about economic development is it's something different every day, and it's a competitive environment out there, but you just got to put the nose to the grindstone and get the work done. And I think we're moving in the right direction here.
Great. So that's something that I just have thought about. That's a connection between the three of you. So Darren played golf. Charla has a son-in-law who is on the golf tour, not the PGA.
Yep.
Oh, he's on the PGA tour. Okay. Yep. And Karen has a son-in-law who's a golf pro as well, right? Mm-hmm. So in theory, I could get the three of them put on my team and win any tournament in Manhattan.
Oh, yes.
Is that how that works?
I have the great shoes. I don't know. What do you got?
Well,
What are you bringing?
I'd have my son-in-law come play.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want me on the team.
No, that's what I said. I could take Darren and your two son-in-laws
That's
and
exactly
basically
right.
win
And we
any
could drive the beer
tournament.
cart.
That's
Yeah, that would be great. I hadn't thought about that. I need to think about that going forward. Charla, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I would say that I'm the other person on the table who did not start at the chamber after college. So that's interesting. Kind of learning about that. So I am from Hutchinson, Kansas, and I kind of came here kind of a roundabout way. My husband is a K-State graduate, and man, he's bled purple since the day I feel like he was born. So Manhattan was always our end goal when he retired. He'll be happy to know that I'm going to share that he is 10 years older than I am, so everyone now officially knows that. So he's going to retire. It has retired, semi-retired before I have. And so it was always our plan to be here when we retired. This was the end game. We've had a stadium place here for quite some time. I just don't know any other time besides K-State football and basketball and baseball. So about 3 years before he retired, this job became available at the chamber. I have a hospitality background, spent a lot of years in hotels and traveled with hotels and being on the other side of the table in the chamber world. And this job became available, and man, the reputation of the Manhattan Chamber is second to none in the state. And it was an opportunity I just felt like I really wanted to be a part of. And so, spoiler alert, I interviewed and they decided to take me. So I came a little ahead of my husband and spent about 3 years when we were long distance marriage of 2 hours to Hutchinson, but met up for game days. And he is semi-retired, like I said, and has moved here now. So just he and I and 2 dogs, and that's what we are.
And you are in charge of our membership division, which includes retaining and attracting new members. It includes our events and it includes our policy initiatives. Talk a little bit about that. How do we get new members into the chamber?
I think one of the biggest things that we always want to look at, Jason, is what value does the chamber bring? We hear that often. Sometimes we hear it on the side of, well, I didn't make it to business after hours. Well, there's so much more that we do every day for our small business owners. And I would also challenge that more than 80% of our members have less than 25 employees. I would venture to say that a lot of individuals, before they become a part of the chamber, feel like we're just the big boys, that we just do big business, and we don't. We recognize and we know that as a small business owner, you are the opener, you're the closer, you're the IT person, you're the human resource person, and we're here to stand in the gap for you. We're here to provide education that you may or may not have access to. We're here to do policy and make sure that we know what's going on at the local and the state and the federal level as well that affects your business every day. That's important to us, and that's who we are, and that's what we do. We want to make sure that we provide plenty of opportunities for you to showcase your business, whether that's at meeting someone new across the aisle at business after hours, or quite frankly, to showcase your business at Business Showcase. We have the opportunity that's unique, I think, in this community to celebrate business, and we're getting ready to do that. In August, we'll have the Business Awards. That's a new program that we started. It's our second year to be able to do that. But it's a lot of fun to be able to celebrate business and what it brings and who those business owners are.
So this may be a repetitive question then. What's your favorite event that the chamber does?
I don't know that it's my favorite. Yeah, it is. We do an event with Women in Business as a program that we have here at the chamber. And we do Resolution Rendezvous. And we were not able to do that in 21. But it is an opportunity that we bring women business leaders together. It's in January. Hence the day Resolution Rendezvous. And you actually set your business resolution for the year. And we partner with a chamber member photographer, and we come in and we actually encourage women to put that word of the year. And some of them write it on their arms, some put it on their hands, some different in the palms of their hands, and we take their picture. And it's a reminder all year long of what was your business resolution? Who do you want to be? Where do you want to be in a year from now? And I think it's a powerful opportunity to be able to do that.
Awesome. Well, so going forward in this podcast, one of these 3 individuals will serve as our co-host in each episode, and we are very fortunate not just to have them as our co-hosts, but certainly to have them in our leadership team at the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. And so I appreciate all of you for being with us today, but I also appreciate all of you for being an integral part of our success and our ability to move forward. Just a little bit about myself. I think a lot of people who know me know that I've been here now a little over 2 years. I'm originally from Oklahoma, grew up in Norman, so opposite of Stillwater, as Darren knows, and spent most of my childhood, of course, in Oklahoma. Ended up in high school moving to a small community in southwest Oklahoma, which was my mom's hometown, which was kind of like my second hometown because we spent summers and holidays in there. It's a little town called Granfield, which I graduated with 21 people. So when people say you don't understand rural issues, I go, oh no, I understand rural issues. I've had the opportunity to unfortunately watch that community, which is a small farming community, struggle as a lot of Kansas communities have, and so understand that dynamic. Went to college at Cameron University, which a lot of people connected to Fort Riley might know because Cameron is the university of choice at Fort Sill. So we had a lot of Army personnel and retired Army personnel that I was in classes with on a regular basis. Was a journalism major, started my career as a sports writer, ended up at about 25 years ago getting the opportunity to lead an economic development organization in McAlester, Oklahoma. Had a great time in that small community, but received the chance to go to Lincoln, Nebraska to run the economic development division in Lincoln, Nebraska for the chamber, and just fell in love with chamber work and spent some time in Lincoln and spent some time in Abilene, Texas, then moved to Norman, Oklahoma, and thought that was probably going to be the end of my career because that was, again, my hometown, and the opportunity to retire, to have the job and retire in your hometown was a very attractive offer. But I got a call from someone who is a headhunter who I had some interactions with in the past that said, "Hey, I know you like university cities. You should really check out Manhattan. It's pretty unique." And I had not been to Manhattan, even though I had been a Big 8, Big 12 fan my whole life, and thought, well, I'll go check it out because I obviously trust the opinion of this individual. And I was blown away by what kind of community Manhattan is. I've said this many times that Manhattan is much greater than Google says it is. The view of people outside of Manhattan who have never been here, I don't know that they have a true appreciation for how great this community is and how vibrant this community is. And so I fell in love with it and fell in love with the people and the leadership team that was going through that process of hiring a new president. And so I decided to move here and of course replace Lyle Butler, who spent nearly 2 decades as a president. Some would say that's not the best choice to make, to follow a legend, but it's one that I made, and I will say Lyle has been very gracious and always been available to talk through things and very helpful through that transition. So I'm very pleased to be here. I think we've moved. Of course, the pandemic created some challenges, but I'm very proud of our team and how we responded. But I also think we've been able to move forward and make a lot of progress over the last 2 years in all the areas that we discussed previously. So why are we doing a podcast? We think it's a great opportunity to promote our local businesses, and we think that local business is the lifeblood of a community and that we need to do as good a job as we can telling their story. So as we started talking about ways that we could do that, one of those was a podcast. And so that's how we're going to set this up moving forward, is we are going to spotlight local businesses who are members of the chamber, but also at the same time discuss issues that are important to our community's growth, to our business community's growth. And so we'll have some guests on that can talk about that. We'll, of course, have guests on that are members of the chamber that we'll ask to tell their story in a fun way. And so we're looking forward to that. We'll come to you once a week. So I'll go around the table again and start with Karen and ask her, what are you looking forward to the most about this podcast?
Well, the opportunity to tell our story and what our offerings are. Many times our local residents are simply just not aware of all of the offerings that a community has. So to be able to expose and to inform what you can do when you vacation in this community, there is so much that you really need to take a week in order to experience it all. But from jumping on the zip line to dipping your toe in the water, whether it's at Tuttle Creek or in City Pool, taking advantage of many of our attractions, learning about our history, learning a bit more about the Flint Hills that surrounds us, to immerse yourself in art. The list can go on and on. If you wanted to just have a dining week and go to all of our unique restaurants, that would take a long time to get through and get around and just to enjoy the many different offerings that you have. So again, I think it's a great opportunity for us to bring Manhattan as a visitor to our locals and to those that don't live here. Podcasts, that's the beauty of a podcast, is it lives forever and it's far-reaching, truly worldwide. So it's a great opportunity for us to be able to tell our story.
I agree. Charlotte, how about you?
You know, I'm really have been struck since I've been here every business owner has a story. And I think the opportunity to be able to share those stories is something I just couldn't pass up. It was an opportunity that I think people will learn to appreciate their neighbors a little better. I think people will see themselves in their neighbors, their fellow business owners, and hopefully get inspired and be able to really appreciate a small business owner and what they bring to the table and their story. I think everyone has a great story, and I can't wait to share our business stories.
Darren?
And I'll add to what Charla said. I think that those stories are incredible, and I think it's important to remember that so many of our what are now major employers or foundational cornerstone businesses in our community started as very small entrepreneurial ventures, whether it be out of someone's garage or someone's car or a shop out back with one or two people. And so learning more about that will not only, as Charla said, be inspirational, hopefully for the next generation, but also help folks understand the importance of business in the Manhattan community and the importance of growing business and the economic development work that we're doing, the tourism work that we're doing, the education and other programming for businesses that's going on through the chamber. It all really works to raise the tide there when it comes to our business community and the ecosystem that we all operate in. So I think those stories and tying that back to the great opportunity that exists going forward will hopefully be something that raises the profile of business in Manhattan.
Great. So before we sign off, I'm going to ask Darren to slide his microphone over to our producer for a moment and get a word from our producer, Dave Lewis.
Hi, my name's Dave.
Dave,
it's an honor to have you guys in here in the Ad Astracast studios.
Tell me briefly about your studios and how you are helping promote the community through podcasts.
Well, I started the concept of doing podcasts a little over a year and a half ago. I bought all the equipment before the pandemic came in. And there's a whole lot of people that didn't want to do a whole lot of things during the pandemic. But through the relationships that I've been able to build over the last several years, I've had an opportunity to have a number of folks come into our studio. We just recently completed a move. We are now in Colony Square, and we're tied in with the offices of the Greater Manhattan Community Foundation, who is one of our contracted clients to do podcasts for them, the GMCF podcast. And we have more opportunities that we're embarking on and bringing in some other people to do podcasts so that they can pass on their message, the information about their business and their goals and their stories. We're going to be telling a lot of stories in various podcast ventures that I'm embarking in. So if you've been to Manhattan, you probably have heard my voice a couple of times, whether it be on the radio at K-Man or at Kansas State University or hosting who knows how many different events, but I've been involved in a lot of things in this community. I've been on the Chamber Board of Directors. I've been on the Convention and Visitors Bureau's board and past chair. And so I have a very active interest in tourism. I have a company that does a lot of special events. And this is kind of, I guess the operative word here over the last couple of years is pivot. And pivoting into a new venture here with the Ad Astracast studios. And Ad Astra means to the stars. And I got 4 stars here in my studio with me today. And we just like to tell the stories and create an opportunity for them to get their message and talk about their own respective interests.
And just for clarification, you are most looking forward to the Chamber podcast above any of the other podcasts. Is that correct? I
have a lot of very special clients. And every time somebody walks in the door, Jason, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled.
Well, we are thrilled to be here, and thank you so much for hosting us and giving us the opportunity to do this on a weekly basis.
And thank you for trusting us to do this. I've got a couple of individuals that help me out on the production side, and it's an exciting venture for me, and I'm really looking forward to growing a number of podcast opportunities, especially with the Manhattan Chamber.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate it. And lastly, I do want to acknowledge Dina Huff, who is our Director of Communications and helped arrange all of this and script everything and get us prepared for this venture. And so Dina does a great job. Thanks for listening to this episode of ThinkMHK, a podcast produced by the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. If you enjoyed the ThinkMHK podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe and share it out on your social media channels. Feel free to reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce.